Or
You can ask all my neighbors. I take care of it all.
oh, who done put us in recording? Y'all okay, y'all. We gotta chill now. It's 6:30. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, this is the January 6th, 2022 meeting of the policy meeting. Happy New Year to all of those who I have not spoke to. And so far so good with the new year. So far so good. Um, and so today, if everyone recalls, we were talking about just going over our policies and making sure that they're updated with their language, with its language rather, and to make sure that these policies still apply. The only time we're really going to look at policies that we're going to vote on is if the state submits policies for us um, to then vote on. Hi, Miss Yura. Happy New Year. Um, and so with that, we're going. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to start with the 100 categories, and today would be 100 and. Oh, I just drew that. Thank you. It just went. Whoo! Thank you. Oh my goodness. 100 I can count. Trust me, I can count. Um 100 and 101. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Seward and let her begin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that very much. Good evening, everyone. I am Danielle Seward, Executive Director for Student Services. I would like to start off just to share with the committee and attendees that our approach to this project, really, we're trying to take a more thoughtful approach to this, where we have literally organized each and every policy and assigned it to its respective cabinet member who oversees that particular function. And so we've developed a timeline and a process where we take them in batches, where each cabinet member is assigned their policies in small little batches. And then they take them and work with their individual teams to review the language and also to look at if there are any procedures that are aligned to that policy. What we're finding is that a lot of our policies don't have procedures aligned to them. So a lot of this is a first time writing project exercise for a lot of our policies, which is something that is definitely needed and has been requested for a while now. So we're undertaking this initiative, and we start with 100 and 101. Even though they technically don't have procedures that go with them, it's a good place to start. Our superintendent is actually the leader of these two policies, but Miss Tyra Brown is on, our assistant superintendent, who can speak to these policies as well if there are any questions. And you'll also see throughout the presentation what our next batch will be at our next meeting. So with that, I will start the presentation. Alrighty. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okie
Yes, ma'am.
dokie. Awesome sauce. All righty. So come up now. There we go. So this is just our agenda, which we've pretty much already started. So this is just a revisiting of why we're doing this, to give our leadership and staff and board members an opportunity to revisit the policies, ensure that they align to our current district needs. Everyone has a shared understanding of the intent and purpose of the policy, and making sure that the policies support the district's effort to achieve the goals described in Focus Forward 2025 strategic plan. And how ironic that we will begin with the strategic plan policy, policy 100. So here we are in policy 100. And just as a matter of order, Ms. Brown, wherever you would like to jump in, please do so. Just wanted to let you know that. So this policy was originally adopted in December of 2006. There really aren't any substantive changes except for where you see the red lined language where the blue language has replaced it. Really not a substantive change, more of a, just a word change or language change. And that's really pretty much it that changed in this policy. It's a short policy. Does anybody have any questions, comments, issues about this one? No? Okie dokie. All righty. Hearing none, I'm going to go back to my lovely policy. Philosophy and education. This is policy 101. So this one was adopted a long time ago in 1993. And it gives our basic understanding and our vision of what education means to us, our philosophy on education. The language change here really was to update it to take the gender specific language out and make it there, which is a trend we're seeing in other districts as well. That really is the only substantive change in this particular policy as well. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns about this policy? I'll give you a second to look at it.
This matchup, I'm sorry, I muted myself. I know this is old, but should this match up with our strategic plan or our mission and vision?
That's a good question. Match up, or I guess the question also should be, does it match up with our vision and our mission? I believe it does match up with our strategic plan, yes.
In 1993, we wrote something that matches up with today's strategic plan?
Well, I would think, because this is philosophy on education, this is a very broad statement on how we feel about education. Our strategic plan is an updated plan of action for how we carry out that overall vision and philosophy.
It was just a thought. I don't have both of them with me, but I would think that they would want to sort of, dovetail together.
So maybe it's we can find, well, maybe we can relook at it and take a look and see if it does. Well, here's a question. Are you suggesting that perhaps we include our mission and vision in the policy?
Yes, ma'am.
I hear a yes. I'm like, I hear a yes. Okay.
Yeah, only because, and you know what, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of glanced at this. I really didn't get deep into it, only because I assumed that we had already did that when we updated the mission and vision statement. So I kind of didn't really get into really looking at this too deep, which now I see I need to do a deep dive into these policies than just glancing. Because that was my question is, why wasn't this adopted in a later date? Because we did change the mission and the vision. And if that statement isn't in there, it really does need to be in our policy.
All right. All righty. So yeah, because it never was in this policy at all. So
yeah, but it should be, because that is part of our philosophy of education.
And that would tie together the strategic plan, which it's written in that. Yeah. And it also would be written in this.
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alrighty. I added the comments so that I'll take the exact language and I will add it in here. I'll add another section that just says district mission, and another section that says William Penn School District mission, William Penn School District vision.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it has to be like that, but I just think they should, like, I don't have the mission and vision and the sites being funny, as you know. But I can't imagine that they conflict with each other, but if they did, they shouldn't.
I mean, it doesn't, Jennifer, it doesn't conflict. However, it should be stated nonetheless. It should be in our policies as part of, again, our philosophy of education.
Yeah. I also wonder, like, changing it to we'll say non-binary, which is awesome, by the way. Thank you so much. like just the words. The site's up, so I'm trying to find it. For instance, like shared values, every person has worth. Every individual can learn. Like I don't have the answer, but I just thought they should.
Yeah. I brought it up for us. Can everybody see that okay?
Little small, but
Oh,
no, I can fix it on my side.
oh, okay. All righty. And how do we feel about the shared values as well?
I think that shared values was the PowerPoint, the bullet point in the PowerPoint. There we go. Woo. Say that 3 times. I think if I remember correct, because I see some of the language in there that was in there.
In up here.
Yeah, right there. So I just think maybe one more time, we just go through this one more time and then add those. There's nothing we need to vote on with that. Just make sure that we add the mission and the vision statement, and then just make sure that the language still sounds the same as the strategic plan, and what's on our website. All of our documentation should be the same. It should not be that one says one thing and one says another. Go ahead, Jennifer.
If we're going to change policy, it does need to be
It
voted
needs
on.
to be, yeah, we're gonna have.
We can't offshoot change verbiage in a policy and not have it approved, correct?
Correct.
The entire board.
It's a substantive change, yeah. If it's not like minor words that won't change the actual intent or meaning of the policy, then we're okay. But if it's a substantive change, like we're adding language like this, I believe we would have to vote on it. I can double check with David Kahn.
I'm about to say check with David, because we're not changing the language. We are actually just adding what is already our philosophy. So yeah, check with David and just make sure, because I don't think so, but yeah, who am I?
I'll check with him, no problem. So I just added the language really quickly, just, in the interest of time, made it blue because we make blue anything that we're adding.
Plus blue is a beautiful color.
It is a lovely color.
Shut up, Miss Val.
Does anybody have any other feedback? That was really great. I really appreciate that comment.
Go ahead, Miss Val.
I would just add the vision and the mission towards the beginning. So then it flows. That's the first thing you see. And then that's my only comment.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
But right after the opening statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Ready.
I had one question. Sorry, I'm late.
Hi, Miss Wadia.
Hi, everyone.
Go ahead.
I was reading it earlier, and when I was looking at some of the other policies from some of the schools, the part where it talks about the humanities and sciences, to me, with reading that language, it seems somewhat dated. And it doesn't seem to reflect the 21st century of learning in terms of when you think about STEM and technology. So I didn't know, I could be wrong, if we could look at something to reflect something that's more current in terms of the language.
Right. And you're right, because we even talking about with our facilities building or reconstruction, we're talking about STEM and having our facilities in the STEM matter. So yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, it seems basic. It doesn't seem like you're taking it to the next level in terms of instruction. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone else? From the board, I should say. Any more from the board? Anyone from our attendees? Questions, comments? Okay.
Okie dokie. All righty. Thank you for that lively conversation. It was very helpful. Actually, now I have my screen all big. At least from what I can see, it's huge.
Yeah, thank you, because now I don't have to use my glasses. Go ahead.
So the next meeting is February 3rd. And our proposed agenda items are policy 102, academic standards, policy 103, non-discrimination of school and classroom practices, policy 103.1, non-discrimination of qualified students with disabilities, 104, non-discrimination of employment practices, and 104.1, equal employment opportunity policy and affirmative action program. So as you can guess by the titles, the first three, the owners are Ms. Brown, Tyra Brown, and the last two, the owners are Katie Schlesinger. So they will be joining us at our next meeting to discuss any substantive changes and or proposed procedures for these policies. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, go ahead.
To sort of dovetail regarding our property meeting last night, would and Mr. Wright's request regarding, sorry, help me out, folks that were there last night.
So
is-
Mr. Wright is looking to amend some of our, to amend the policy regarding our district contracts to include contracts where we set aside portion of that contract to for minority,
Oh, okay.
to include minority contracts within.
Right, so Mr. Wright was referencing the minority document that we worked on, and I'm vegging the name of it a couple years ago, and if there was a way to dovetail how we hire contractors under a bidding process into that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that indeed someone was checking with Mr. Khan on the legality of us making a policy that supersedes state and federal policy regarding the bid process.
And if my memory serves me correctly, Ms. Hoff, it was agreed upon that that conversation would be handled between Dr. Becoats and Ms. Boykins. Once they, and Mr. Khan, once that is determined and they feel like we need to do a policy in regards to that topic, then we would, as a policy committee, would handle that. But for now, we'll wait to hear from them.
Got it.
Absolutely correct, Mr. Hopkins.
All righty. Okay. Are there any other questions, comments from our attendees? I'm sorry, there are some young people outside my window. Apparently. I'm not sure if you could hear them.
Ms. Commodore, you have a question?
All righty. Our Zoom 2-person, can you let Ms. Commodore speak, please? I think it's Josh.
I'm not seeing anyone
Oh,
who is disallowed from speaking.
It's,
Let me see.
Ms. Commodore, can you raise your hand? There we
There
go.
we go. All right.
Hi, Ms. Commodore. There we go.
All right, what's that?
Perfect. That works perfectly. Okay, I have a question about the policies. Is there any way that, or possibly a consideration can be brought up about the COVID sick days? Due to so many of our staff members, newly hired, seasoned members catching this and using a lot of their time. You know, we come in the year, we are given 10 sick days, 3 personal days. And a lot of people are catching this close contact. Yes, they have been vaccinated. Yes, and no, that with them being boosted. I just know that it's hard on a lot of families with them being out of work and no pay. And I was just wondering, is there anything that has been brought up in the sense of giving some type of consideration to this situation? Because like our district, many districts are being hit with this situation, and a lot of companies have been hit with this very hard. And I was just wondering has that even been considered or reconsideration or something that could possibly put in a plan or an effect or taking a survey to the district, to the employees in the district?
Thanks, Ms. Commodore, for that question. And I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. You want to know if there is any kind of policy or procedure that talks about no pay for staff if they contracted with COVID? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's the federal, it's pay being contracted due to COVID. I know that was out there on the federal level, and it was up to the districts to decide whether or not they wanted to opt in or opt out of it. So I was just wondering if our district opt into it or our district decided to opt out. Because I know the policy did go in back in August that if you caught COVID, you had to use your sick days. And
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just trying to.
No, I'm just, yeah, I want to hear what.
FFCRA?
I think that's it. Let me see if I can pull it back up.
Yeah, that's the federal relief fund, COVID relief fund. And that ended last year through the federal government in January.
No, it was another one that was put in. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay. Well, we can follow up with Ms. Schlesinger on that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think this meeting here is reflective of what her question is, and we need to take it back to Dr. Becoats and Ms. Schlesinger.
Absolutely, and I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, appreciate you. And if you would be kind and just follow up with us, Ms. Seward, and let the board know what and Ms. Commodore know what your findings is or are.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, it was the FFCRA Act.
Alrighty, thanks.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, so we got homework. Homework is to talk with make sure that Ms. Boykins and Dr. Biko speak with Mr. Khan, make sure that the policy 101 is updated with the missions and the state vision statement. Check the wording out on the I forgot what was that. What Ms. Wadia brought up. I didn't write it down.
Oh, or for the humanities.
Humanities, thank
arts
you.
And humanities language.
Thank you. And then last for Miss Commodore for the FFCRA.
Yeah, and
okay.
we'll definitely refer that to our HR department for response.
Awesome sauce. Okay, well, that is it. See you all February the 3rd for our next policy meeting.
All righty.
Okay.
Thank you,
night.
everyone.